In today's video, we'll be talking about a major system that will be impacting the north central, central, and east United States. There could be many big problems, including snowfall and huge ice amounts. There's a rainy side of the storm, wintry side of the storm, and icy side of the storm. Let's see what category you fall into. Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be checking out a major system that will be impacting the central United States and the north central United States. But before we get into that, I kindly ask you to subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and like the video so we can get caught in the algorithm. And let's go and start off the video here. Right now we are looking at the National Weather Service, or Nws Watches and Warnings here. We can see anything here in the blue is basically saying you could get a winter storm. The pink here is a winter storm warnings. And we can see winter storms warnings already right here as the system will be moving throughout. We can see also winter storm warnings and watches up here. And red flag warning, I'm pretty sure right here. And a bunch of fire risks, high wind warnings and stuff like that. Another winter storm watches and is that winter storm watch? There could be, yeah, that's a winter weather advisory. So this is a winter storm watch. So here we have winter weather advisories and then winter storm warnings right next to that. And this dark blue here is the winter storm watches, and then right here we can see another winter weather advisory. The pink is winter storm warnings. And yeah, that's basically the main thing that's going on right here. This is hydraulic outlook right there. And down here we have a flood watch. And yeah, that's really the main coverage there. There could be special weather statements and stuff throughout scattered that I will not cover. There's some gale also. But the main system we'll be talking about will be moving up, and tons of people are going to get impacted. Especially this area right here. They could get a lot of snow. So let's go ahead and move into the Gfs model. Right now, we are looking at the Gfs model here on Tropical Tidbits. A very good site. I'll actually link that in the description if you want to check it out and you can see what I'm looking at. But right now, we're just going to move it out a few hours here. We can see the cold front developing of this Clipper system that actually became a full-blown snowstorm as it was heading out of the United States. Let me draw a better arrow there. As it was heading out of the United States there. And it left a little bit of moisture there. And the cold front that will be stretching like this. And then, of course, the warm front, and then maybe a occluded front within the storm. But that'll be heading off the coast, and that won't be our main troublemaker here. As we can see, the storm really is stationary, as it really becomes its own storm here, as it splits off from this storm and starts to become its own thing. So, we can see the cold front still pretty stationary here. It's looking like a stationary front. In 6 hours, it has not moved a ton, you can definitely see there, but we can see pretty heavy snow here and some pretty heavy ice and sleet, a little bit of mix in there too. And we can see it's starting to pull up moisture right here from the Gulf, and that will be a big influence on what this thing is gonna do. We can see it just pulling moisture also from the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, however you guys want to say it or like to say it. But we can see it just stretching from here all the way up into the system there. If you can see that line of precipitation, pretty light precipitation, mind you. But the main flood warnings that we are looking at was actually from today, it was flood watches and warnings. And that red there you guys saw, that was a flash flood or flood warning. And that is pretty serious, but this will be also contributing to the development of this system here. We can also see pretty heavy snow here as it will be moving up through the north central United States. Well, north central and central United States. And this will actually be moving east to northeast at times. And let's go and move it out another 6 hours here. And a track will be probably good like this. Probably a little bit more angled up towards Canada there. But yeah, that will be around where it will be heading there. We can see it also connecting with a bit of moisture that was coming down from the Canadian border to the Midwest to West Coast. and that will be also contributing there. That was a terrible arrow, contributing there. And this will cause a big line here of snow that will be impacting a bunch of the United States. And winter storm warnings already because of the snow, the early snow from the Clipper system, that will also be moving out and becoming an actual storm. And the low pressure system that will be pushing down all of this cold air from the north or Canada. And high pressure will be situating here, forcing this low pressure system to just go around to here, kind of like this. That is, if it started up here, that's probably the track it would take, as remember the high pressure tries to deter the low pressures away, and they're pretty good at doing that. Let's go and move it out another 6 hours. We can see almost secondary area of low pressure as it is pulling up even more moisture from the Gulf Coast and pulling up more moisture from the Caribbean there, and that'll be affecting it big time. We can see a little bit of moisture still off the Mexican coast there, and if we move it out a little bit, we can see the low pressure system really starts to form down here, and the low pressure system up here really starts to fade away, and that'll be causing some big problems because the low pressure system here now it has more room to really strengthen and cause more damage and a lot more impacts for more people, and that's why there's such a large area of winter storm watches and warnings. Most likely it'll become warnings. And earlier we thought there could be a blizzard warnings up here. I actually don't know if there was or not, and blizzard warnings could be coming. I actually don't know, but we can see pretty light snow for this area mainly, as it will start to move out there, especially in northwest Texas, and that will be actually probably a dusting. There won't be much. If we move it out 6 hours, it's still going to be light snow, but definitely not much if we light dusting there. But as we were discussing, still getting pretty moderately heavy here, and that'll be moving over here. That little blob will be moving out there. And the reason why there's so much snow, it's not going to be necessarily heavy. It's just like this trailing snow. You see this long line? Say you're right here. You've already gone through a bit of it, but you still have a lot more to go through. It's just going to be a long period of snow. We can see low pressure system definitely right there located, and then another low pressure system down here that could be influencing it. And the big problem could also be ice here. Look how much ice there is. And it actually could be getting really heavy in some areas, actually sometimes topping the charts in freezing rain category. And the sleet here also getting pretty heavy in some localized areas. We actually don't know because remember, 66 hours out right now. But let's move it out another 6 hours here, and we can see a good bit of snow. I mean, it's just going to be trailing, and that's just going to be the trend as it finally starts to move out and goes off the coast. We will not be looking any farther because we're taking that with a grain of salt. If we go out any farther, right now at the end of the storm, it's predicted is 126 hours out, or Sunday, February 6th. And we can see a little bit of cold air sneaking in there to the south. So yeah, let's go ahead and move into the Ecmwf model. Right now, we are looking at the Ecmwf High Res, hour 54, or we can see here valid Wednesday 2022, February 2nd, and you'll be seeing that there. But we can already see pretty same trend with the similar to Gfs model here, with just a little bit less ice here and a little bit less potent, as there is a good chunk of moisture and snow here missing, as that could be a pretty big impactor for some of you guys down there. If we keep on moving it out a little here, we can definitely see the snow getting much heavier here, much heavier. We can see getting actually to almost the top of the charts there, not to the top of the charts, but again, the main snowfall will be right here, and we will be actually seeing that later on the video. Make sure to stick around to see the snowfall totals, but we can see still just pretty light snow to moderate snow. And just the main problem with the storm is it's just such a big cold front here that if it's moving up this way, right? If it's moving up that way, it's going to be days of trailing snow if you're right here. If it moves up like this, it's going to be days of trailing snow. So if we move it out another 6 hours here, we can see definitely the snow and ice getting much more potent, and this is where it will be getting very concerning here, as we are topping the charts in the freezing rain category. Sleet is definitely much smaller here, but we could be getting also pretty heavy mix here, and still near that border, just a little bit moderate to heavy snow. And that'll be passing through the main bullseye here of snow. The ice will be just a little bit farther south than that. And another 6 hours here, we can see the low pressure system. The model finally starts to detect the low pressure system as it's probably a little bit stronger than 1008 millibars. We could be seeing a good bit of wind with this storm also. And of course, the temperatures all be flowing in from the Canadian border. Because it's a cold front, it just unleashes all of this Arctic air and pushes it down to the southeast. So all the systems, well, almost all the systems, probably all of the systems in the United States travel this way, right? So it's always going to be heading either down here or down there or up here. It will be always heading in the somewhat east direction, never in the west direction. So if we keep on moving it out here, we can see the low pressure system finally starting to get where it's supposed to be, as low pressure system on the model was actually located much farther south than I would think it would be. But we can see the snow really starts to move out here on the Ecmwf High Res as a high pressure system starts to speed up the storm's movement as it starts to move out the United States. But we are definitely still not done here. Still a lot of ice to go for some areas, and a good bit of snow near the Great Lakes. And if we move it out just a little bit more to the storm finally leaving, you can see still many, even up to a day more of snow. Finally, the storm moves out, but we can definitely see it left its mark here as a lot of ice for this area and a lot of snow for this area, a ton of snow. We could be seeing upwards of 2 feet in some areas, and definitely just this cold air coming down from the Canadian border. That could be a huge problem because of how cold it will be. Wind chill values could also be really freezing. And we are actually going to check out the GFS snowfall here, and then we'll check out the Ecmwf High Res snowfall, and then we'll check out the GFS ice totals. Let's go ahead and look at the snowfall. Right now we are looking at the total snowfall here, and we can see 20 inches right here, probably getting up into the 2 feet range, as we can see on the scale here. Getting dark, so anywhere from here, dark green, so anywhere from there is probably a safe guess, because you can't really see it as well as pivotal weather, which I'll be showing you in a minute. But we can definitely see here still a ton of snow. Yeah, probably 2 feet here in the main bullseye. And the bullseye is actually pretty big here, as it covers a ton of people here, many states. And Kentucky could also be getting into this. North Kentucky, probably 20 inches of snow, which is just crazy. This will be, of course, moving, so it won't really break this boundary probably, as the way it is moving, it probably won't. Freezing rain will be around here. That's what they are looking at right now, probably a little bit farther northwest there. But yeah, that's really it for the GFS on the tropical tidbits. Let's actually look at GFS on pivotal weather. Right now we are looking at the pivotal weather GFS model, which we can see the exact numbers, but it is kind of different here, as we can see the bullseye is a little bit less large, probably because it doesn't include sleet. That is a big factor, and some freezing rain and ice. But we can see definitely a big cutoff there, huge cutoff, and that's where it'll be transitioning to ice there. This is where it'll be transitioning to ice. Probably not that big, probably more like this, like that. That'll probably be the main thing. But we're going to go ahead 30 inches, 31 inches. And then North Kentucky, we can see very North Kentucky getting 13 inches. It's different. It's definitely different. And yeah, this is pretty heavy snowfall, upwards of 2 feet, which, I mean, that's just too much snow. I mean, definitely a lot of snow. And again, we can see here, still, even light snow. It's going to be a dusting at times, but it's definitely going to accumulate over time here. If we look, 7 inches, 6 inches, 5 inches. So definitely not as much, but because of the lighter snow, but still, it's going to be there for such a long time. But yeah, this bullseye could definitely change, so make sure to stick around for my other videos. I'll also be covering this. And yeah, and the Clipper system also, that will be turning into a full-blown snowstorm. That'll be leaving a good bit of snowfall for Canada. Yeah, that's really it for the GFS. Let's go ahead and look at the Ecmwf High Res. We can see the Ecmwf High Res being just a little bit more reasonable here. We can see definitely a lot less we can see on the screen because of the colors. There's just much less. So let's go ahead and look here. 19 inches. So 12 inches less than our max. Yeah, 19 inches. And then in Texas, 3 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches. Yeah, that's still not that bad for you guys. You guys also get some snow sometimes as these storms go south and then they shoot up like this. So mainly the southeast doesn't get that much snow because of the way everything just is, but it is sometimes, it sometimes happens when a storm kind of goes like this. That is kind of rare in a way, but it does happen. It actually happened this year with two snowstorms that happened with one with ice and one with a lot of snow for some areas. But the first one with a lot of snow actually wasn't, so they kind of boosted it up a little, as like they kind of over predicted and it undershot. So there's a lot less snow and there was also a lot less ice. There wasn't that many power outages. It just wasn't as bad as predicted, but still it was pretty bad. But we can see here still a bunch of snow with the Ecmwf High Res. 18 inches, that's still a ton. And yeah, let's go ahead and move into the GFS ice totals. We can see ice here getting very heavy in some areas. And getting into Nashville, actually. Tennessee could be getting hit pretty hard from this storm. Let's see. 1.89 inches. That's almost 2 inches of ice there. Yeah, that's probably our most. So almost 2 inches of ice near Tennessee. Let's actually go to Tennessee. Yeah, 1.81. So yes, near 2 inches of ice for some areas. A ton of ice. And look how big of an area this is. This is covering a huge area. And a lot of this is getting close to an inch there. A lot of this is getting close to an inch, covering a ton of area. So there could be so many power outages. So many. So yeah, that's really it for today's video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.